Thank you for the invitation for the second year. It's always an excellent opportunity to come here from London and share with you our experiences. My presentation is going to be slightly different. And connecting with the previous sort of panel that demonstrated a lot of frustration for the hydrocarbons. We see frustration in hydrocarbons, we see frustration in renewables. Something is wrong here, guys. Something needs to be done. A personal statement is that I don't consider renewables and hydrocarbons mutually exclusive. I think they're both necessary. I don't think that anyone here would question the necessity of taking immediate action to phase out or to somehow mitigate the risks of a climate crisis that we face. However, it would be naive to stand here and consider hydrocarbons obsolete or not necessary, at least for the foreseeable future. I would say more than 2050, but that's a personal opinion. Therefore, we consider our position and my position in Wattcrop. Wattcrop is a Macquarie Green Investment Group company. It was bought in 2021 by Macquarie. And our sole purpose is to develop renewable energy and storage projects in Greece. We have quite a healthy pipeline in various stages. But I'm not here to say more about my company. I would like to do things. First of all, share our vision of what Greece could be, because it's very easy to sit here and judge and be judgmental about things. But I think it would be much better for me to present our vision for the country and then give you a roadmap of how do we think the immediate steps would be and what do we need to implement in order to reach that sort of vision, make that vision a reality. So we envisage Greece, and sorry for the I don't know if we can see that. I can see it in my screen. I cannot see it in the yeah. Here we are. Excellent. Excuse the Greek slides, but I wasn't expecting to do the presentation in English. However, what we see, Greece is a country that is of significant, plays a significant role in transmission, a country that can be a protagonist or a champion in the export of green energy per capita in Europe, a country that can perhaps envisage a very wealthy, very healthy sector with more than 50,000 people working in the industry. We already have some figures from Helapco on the current employment in solar. I'm sure that Mr. Radakakos that just joined us will have more figures for us from the wind side, but also a country that plays a significant geopolitical role in connecting various significant or creating very significant corridors, moving power from the south to the north. But not everything is green, and not everything is perfect. So we have a lot of challenges. I think that Zisimos has already mentioned the limitations in the grid, so I will not go into this. However, we feel as a company, and looking at the legislation, that is the obligation of the authorities and the regulators to allow for access to the grid to anyone. So we need to lift any technical restrictions of accessing the market. We need to lift restrictions that are either coming from policy or from technical reasons, and allow access to everyone to the market. We need to have a simpler licensing process. We have employees or organizations that interpret the law by their own standards. And also we have no statutory times. I think in the UK, we do have statutory times. In Greece, we like to rediscover the wheel every time, but I think we could reach out and adopt best practices from other countries. So statutory times are extremely important, and there should be specific actions if someone passes that statutory times. We still have a very weak, I would say, framework for PPAs. There is a categorization on priorities on the grid that factors in PPAs with Greek consumers and the Greek industry. However, we feel that this needs to be extended, and we need to facilitate also virtual PPAs with other regions. We need to phase out completely any subsidies in renewables. It is my belief that renewables do not need subsidies, storage doesn't need subsidies. The market can regulate itself. The market is mature enough and technologies are mature enough that we don't need subsidies to survive. And whenever we have subsidies, we have imbalances in the market. So we need to phase out subsidies completely. I've already discussed about the liberalization of the market and the need to to provide access to everyone, so I will not extend to that. But looking at the power to X, this elusive power to X, and maybe hydrogen is one of that, we still don't have a regulative framework in Greece that allows the installation of electrolyzers, for example, outside refineries. Because in refineries you already have production of hydrogen, therefore you can install. But outside, if I would like to do a project somewhere else, there is no legal framework of how to do it. So we need to create that. And we still haven't seen, and we haven't touched a big elephant in the room, which for me is the electrification of the heating stock and the heating sources of Greece. We've talked about electromobility, and we've talked about the need for more electricity, and I'm closing as I've passed my time, but we haven't yet addressed the electrification of the heating and the housing stock in Greece. Therefore, my belief is that there is immediate action that we need to take in order to allow more projects to be installed, take out completely the subsidies, and allow the market to regulate itself. And storage, I think, will play a massive role into that, but allow the market to regulate itself, and we think that whoever is capable of competing in a level playing field will be able to sustain itself in the Greek market, which is a challenging, and as Zisimos said, an overheated market. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will make some questions to our prominent speakers. First, to Mustafa. Mustafa, I said in the very beginning that the energy transition is a long-term process, and this is a road that we have to walk through. And within this path, there are many critical stages that we have to face. So what do you think is the most critical stage that Turkey has to face in the future, in 20 years from now, until to implement the final strategies and the final goal?
Sorry, I think the main problem will come from the finance sector. So finance is a very crucial element of these investments. Although we are in favor of resources, so we have got a lot of wind capacity, we have got a lot of solar radiation potential in Turkey, and our infrastructure is relatively very well designed, but the finance is the most crucial item. But anyhow, it is not a very big problem. Because Turkey is a growing country, and we need a lot of electricity, and we consume a lot of electricity, And also we are exporting some of our materials to the other countries, industrial products like textile, automotive, and so on. So we need to install all this green electricity in order to avoid these carbon tax issues from our importations. So there are a lot of positive factors and there are some limitations, but it is going to be very well balanced in the coming future. But after a certain point of maturity, these storage issues are going to be very crucial, not only for Turkey, for everyone, every country, because the absorption capacity is limited for renewables, because we all know that they are intermittent energy resources. So we need to store some of the capacity in order to use them during the demand. So therefore, we will see what will happen in this storage issue, storage sector as well. So we will see all these improvements and also in worldwide, not only for Turkey. So that's the main challenge, I think, for renewable electricity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. And now the next question for Mr. Mantas. Well, your company also will to invest in the battery storage project, but structural problems exist in the battery storage investments. At the moment, there is a big disturbance in the markets with the increase in the prices of raw materials, as you know. There are disturbances in the market which cause a great uncertainty regarding the implementation of such kind of projects. And I speak with many friends and investors, and they wait the batteries, something like a messiah to come and solve all the problems. So I would like to have your opinion on that.
Thank you for that. Quite interesting as a question. Yes, there are challenges that are mainly here for us to solve. Of course, in disturbances to the logistics supply chain, as all those that already mentioned by the Chinese that are domineering the market and the Europe trying to follow suit as regards to lithium or other commodity or other elements. But again, we do see that the demand of batteries will increase. Certainly, this is not a messiah that is going to solve all the problems and renewables will live happily ever after. No, we are here to make smart grids. We are here to liberate the market. Regulations have to be there, since now, as we speak, the only regulation as regards to batteries is only for standalone batteries to penetrate the grid. We have to make room for merchant batteries. The market is here to make solutions, to provide solutions, and more projects to penetrate the grid and provide profitable and competitive projects. And of course, to the last consumer, to the end consumer, to be provided clean, green, and competitive electricity prices, because we all suffered from this roller coaster of prices last year, which I was happily invited here and demonstrated a few things. Yes, batteries do pose a problem, do pose challenges. I wouldn't say a problem. Challenges also as regards to that, but we see renewables to be the future, of course, together with fossil fuels, as previously discussed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Moysiadis, allow me to make a very brief question about PPAs. Why do you think in Greece this very special financial instrument is not enough developed? And what do you think about other kind of financial instruments and also the synthetic PPAs, etc.? Please.
Yes, thank you for the question. A brief comment about batteries, if you allow me, before I answer the question on PPAs. We have to be very careful to go from a fuel dependency into a material dependency. Therefore, we need to invest as Europe and as Western world into R&D. R&D will give a solution to the material dependency from China, because unfortunately we cannot change geographies and how the Earth has formed. Now, going back to the PPAs, why PPAs in Greece are challenging? Because simply it's not a liquid market. It's a buyer's market. We have very few companies that they are credit rated that can form long-term PPAs. There are structural issues that through the energy exchange and other organizations, there are proposals of how to solve them. But in reality, you have to deal with a non-liquid market. And this is another point that I have to make, that at some point in renewables, we need to seriously start taking corporate risk. We had it easy, if I could say, for the last 15, 20 years. We were having limited risks and we were getting, you know, not even Greek bonds. I think the minister said Norwegian bonds in subsidies. So the risk was very little. So now that we're going into a merchant environment, as companies and as investors, we need to get very comfortable with the idea that we're going to take much more risk, not only in the investment, but also the investment needs to change. It's not just generating and selling electricity, but it's thinking cleverly that we have a commodity which is we generate electricity. What are we going to do with the electricity that's going to be curtailed? How are we going to use that? So we have an evolve level of, or we need an evolved level of investors, and this is the new market reality for me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moysiadis. And Mr. Scott, okay, the insurance business is something very important for renewable energy sources, and your company and the business is acting something like a guardian angel, let's say, for investments and projects, but also for institutions, not only for projects. But allow me to say that the insurance business exists because there's a risk. So the higher the risk, the bigger the role of insurance. Consequently, I would like to ask you, how risky is renewable energy in relation to other projects, energy projects? And if you believe that the future in insurance business as the energy is concerned is unequivocally the green energy.
I'm delighted to be referred to as the guardian angels, so thanks very much. How risky is the insurance business in renewables? We are involved in a global market that has billions of dollars of capacity. Lots of underwriters, the risk takers that used to participate in the oil and gas business have transitioned over to renewable energy. But I have to say, no one has made money out of it. For every dollar in premium spent, more claims have been recovered. There's always hope. There's always next year. In 2022, the underwriters that had been heavily involved in solar lost hundreds of millions and billions of dollars as a result of Texas hailstorms. So they transitioned over to the Middle East, where it's a benign environment. They got hit by a Category 5 windstorm in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So there's always challenges. The key point is, as the technology races away, certainly offshore with increasing megawatt turbine size from 15 megawatts and beyond, is the fact that they've learned some lessons. The manufacturers have lost a lot of money, potentially, in their view, as a result of supply chain issues and wars in the world. But the reality is it's defective products. And the insurance market has sat there, and we've got to look at how we divide the risk between the risk carriers and the manufacturers to make sure this is equitable going forward. So it is a risky space, but the key message that we say is that if we can engage on projects early and use all the lessons learned that the insurance companies around the world have seen in real life, we can learn some lessons and make sure we put checks and balances in place so that the projects are generally more successful than they would be without that partnership.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scott. We reached the end of this part. If someone from you wants to make a very brief question, because we need to go for a coffee break. Okay, we will have time during the coffee break to make questions to the prominent speakers. Thank you very much.